how it came around to even think about starting this business, we didn't really know, this online thing, was we had this idea, or actually our business partner at the time had the idea of this vision board movie thing, which again became Mind Movies. And we started teaching some people how to do it. He taught us, he taught a few other people, because it's this cool little thing, this law of attraction visualization tool, right? We didn't even know what to call it. We call it a vision board thing, right? But the idea of, hang on a minute, so let's say you could make a business out of that. Hey, get people to come around your house. You could even maybe have a shop front. I think it would be very difficult, but you could teach people, if you could get in front of people and they'd like to do it, you could teach them how to create these little movies. But think about the difference. You can put up a website very inexpensively now, very inexpensively. Put up a website, do some social media, which what's that mean? Everyone's got Facebook or Instagram or both or YouTube. You can start to post some things and get eyeballs, traffic, get people. It's like people in your door, people in your front door of any of your businesses to look at your program and then potentially buy it. So there's no difference in the sales process. It's just how much easier it is. Like, that's what I say, like, no business is easy. But when it comes, all the businesses I was involved in before, compared to online, it is 10,000 times easier for all the reasons I said earlier. But it's because you can just start with practically no risk. Like I said, you've just got to get out of your comfort zone. So yeah, like imagine if I didn't take it online and I was, hey, I still would help people, probably tens, maybe even hundreds eventually after all these years. We've reached tens of millions of people. So soon as we kind of got an idea and realized this was a thing that people really wanted, we were really helping people. It's not just about the money. Of course, we need to make money. But when you're getting email after email, comment after comment, and you're changing people's lives, and then we realized email after email was people all over the world. We were within the first year or two, I think we're in every single country that has internet. Now that's just mind-blowing to me. Of course but people that don't, countries that have no English. But this message was so important. I'm like, oh my God, like we can literally change the world. Now, what other medium other than the internet can you do that? There's nothing even slightly in the realm of that. So I think that's the real power. It's not just the ease of starting a business. That's the biggest one. The ease and the less risk, and you don't need money. But being able to immediately reach the entire world, to me is just, it still blows my mind. Hundreds of thousands of stories. But you know, I mean, a few come to mind, like everything from, oh my God, I just watched a pre-made My Movie. I haven't even made their own yet. We just, you know, we send out, we give away for free, like certain My Movies. You know, I can't believe it. I've been watching this for 3 days and a check just turned up for $10,000. You made like, what? Like, I still get shivers with this. Oh my God, I was watching my Mind Movie and, you know, put it away. And then a year later, I pulled my Mind Movie out because I moved into this house and I looked at it and it was literally standing in the same house of the pictures. He showed me. Here was the picture in my Mind Movie out at my backyard. Here was the picture of my driveway. Here was the picture of my fireplace. Here was the picture of my bathroom. It wasn't the exact house, but it was so identical. So it's like, well, what happened? He tapped into the law of attraction. If you understand the law of attraction, if you understand like attracts like, if you can vibrate at that level, which putting the photos and music with that creates that emotion, if you understand the way that works, he basically did that for months and months, watched his Mind Movie, and then a year later, it was still in his brain, he attracted all those things, if that makes sense. But I mean, I could go on and on and on about, I've got everything from, you know, watched a Mind Movie for a month, you know, been single, wanting to attract their perfect partner. Bang. the perfect partner that they had in their mind if you came into their life. They're looking for that perfect job. I mean, there's pretty much no category about what someone has wanted that I've every time gone, like, I know this works, but my God, it blows my mind. So years later, we knew this worked. Did I understand the science? I understood the psychology, but I didn't understand the science. So we partnered with Dr. Joe Dispenza many years ago now, and we've actually done brain mapping of people watching a mind movie and meditating. And we actually know the science behind it now and why it works. It's very powerful, very, very powerful. Yeah, so quite a few years ago now, I mean, obviously I realized the way that I came into this space. And I realized that particularly in the market that I was in, or am in, the personal development industry, I realized that there wasn't really anything really targeted for those people. So I partnered with Sabrina Truscott, who's also in the movie, and she's amazing. She's the face of that brand. And we created a business called Abundant Entrepreneur, which is basically about finding your passion and turning it into a business, an online business, which of course is what we're talking about here today, right? It's like, so that was quite a few years ago. Then fast forward a few years, and I never wanted to be here I am on camera, but I never wanted to be the face of anything. But I really realized, the need for, when people are starting out, the need to know what I worked out myself. Now, what was that? It was basically, I didn't know what to do. I didn't understand the internet. I wasn't technical. There's no way I could learn how to do Facebook ads or YouTube ads or Google ads, anything like that. There's just no way. So what I chose to do was do what's called joint ventures or affiliate marketing, which is basically where you find other people that are in your kind of market. Like I was talking earlier, it's so abundant. You find people who've got businesses very similar to yours, and you say, hey, you've got a product, I've got a product. How about you send an email to your list and I'll send an email to mine? Or how about you do a post on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and I'll do the same for you. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. That kind of makes sense. No risk. You do for me, I do for you. Very abundant, very cool, very fair. So I kind of led myself into that because I'm like, well, I know how to talk to people. So I reluctantly, I've got to be honest, it's a few years ago now, my business partner now in a brand called JV Hacking, he pretty much took him a few years, talked me into writing a book about this information. He said, well, because I kind of used to teach it sometimes, like if I ran a mastermind, I was kind of known as the joint venture person or the affiliate person that, I was doing product launches. Anyway, he said, will you write a book? Anyway, reluctantly, I basically interviewed me for 5 or 6 hours and he wrote the book out of it. And then what came out of that was I really, really, really understood, okay, again, like I said about sharing stuff with the world, I'm like, no one's teaching this stuff. This is really, again, it's one of those things. It's simple but not easy. Nothing's that easy, but it's simple. And like I said, risk-free. So wrote the book, created a course, and I've got an automated software and we do all kinds of training and stuff and webinars and free information with that as well. But basically what it teaches is exactly how I started. Okay, I've got a product now. How am I going to get traffic to it? I don't have the money to risk on advertising and employing agencies, buying traffic. I can't do that. So I just started reaching out to people, and we haven't got time to go into it now, but like I said, I do lots of free training, webinars, stuff like that teaches exactly what I'm talking about. But it's everything from when you reach out to somebody. How do you reach out to someone? Like for instance, you don't say, hey, hi, I'm such and such. I've got an amazing product. Will you promote me? And then you talk to them all about how good the product is. There's a few nuances there. Like I said, it's pretty simple though. But it's like, instead you go, well, hang on a minute. What do you do when you want to make a friend? When you want to make a friend, you compliment them, think about what's in it for them. What do they want to hear? You fluff their ego, right? Business is exactly the same. Relationship 101, it's exactly the same. So how would I approach someone? And again, don't get me wrong, I did not do this in the beginning. I did exactly the opposite, had to learn all the lessons. And all these lessons that I learned, that's when I went, if I can write a book, create a course, do some trainings, and just teach people these main things, I would have been a year ahead if I knew this stuff. I wouldn't have wasted months and weeks of my time reaching out to the wrong people the wrong way and saying the wrong things. For example, you don't reach out to someone, if you're starting out, you don't reach out to someone that's been in business for 5 years with a huge email list and all this knowledge. And you don't reach out to someone and say, talk about all about the product and how amazing it is. You don't say what you want, which, hey, this is human nature. Oh my God, I've got someone on a call. I'm going to tell them what I want. I want to get this out. So what you do instead, which isn't that intuitive, you're amazing. I've been following you for a long time. Your products are great. Your trainings are great. I don't have much of a list, or I have no list, or here's the other thing. Be very transparent and honest. People find that very difficult when they're desperate. And let's be honest, when we all start out, we're all desperate, right? So when you reach out, just think what's in it for them, what's in it for them, what's in it for them. This is when you're really new. You know, unless of course, if the other person is really new as well, the rules are kind of a lot more lax. Hey, such and such, I've got a product, you've got a product, let's promote each other. No one cares how experienced you are, whether you've got a big list. But I'm talking about if you're going into, we call it the A, B, C, and D levels. It's not derogatory, it's just when you're a D level affiliate, you're just starting out. Everyone's a D. Then when you've got a bit of experience, you're a C. When you've been around a while, a couple of years, you understand all this split testing and EP, all this stuff that you don't really need to understand now. Well, then you're a B, and then obviously the top tier is an A. When you're a D level affiliate, which everyone is, reach out to other Ds. You don't have to be as deliberate and as concerned about it as I'm saying. You can reach out to Ds and Cs, right? But the thing is, when you're a D, you quickly become a C because you get to know a little bit more. The great thing is, C's know B's and B's know A's. So you can climb this ladder quite quickly, but let me just step back a bit. So say you're a D, you're reaching out to a C, which that's what you should be doing, D's and C's. Lead with, what can I do for you? How can I promote you? How can I support you? How can I do more for you? One great little trick with this is, if you want to connect with somebody, because people go, well, how do I find people? Social media is absolute game changing for this. You can find groups, interest groups, people that are posting things that are similar to yours or things you're interested in. If you do that, make comments and promote or do a demo of their product or something, a training they did, and tag them in it. Tag them in it personally. Most people still check their personal Facebook, Instagram, whatever. That's just a great little tip. But when you do get that person on the phone, and here's the other big thing too, get them on the phone. Don't think you can email backwards and forwards. Again, this isn't obvious, especially these days. We are so tied to email, text message, and now it's IM. No one, I don't say no one, but people don't intuitively speak to people anymore. And again, this is one of the things, I know it sounds really basic, that I teach is pick up the phone. What do you mean pick up the phone? People are probably going, oh my God, I'm not going to talk to someone. Like, think about how crazy it is. Someone calls you on your phone. It's a phone. And you go, how rude. They didn't text me, right? I'm kind of joking, but we know this is true. We all do it. We all do it, right? Oh my God. But how crazy is that? We've gone so backward with technology that now it's rude to call someone on a telephone, right? So I encourage people to call people on the telephone. What I did way back when, again, like I said earlier, because I couldn't type, I learned this through necessity. I didn't learn it because I was smart and I got it when I was a D-level affiliate. I didn't understand any of this stuff. But I learned because it would take me 10 minutes to write a one-sentence email. So what would I do? What was quicker and easy, effective? Would you like to jump on a call? But what I realized a year looking back, I developed relationships so quickly. And one of the big things was I actually spoke to people. I met them in person when I could. People are probably going, oh my God. And the thing is, if you like I said, one of the easiest ways to start your online business, and when I say start that, to get traffic and get people, get sales, is through joint venture marketing or affiliate marketing. And if you can just get out of your comfort zone a little bit, actually be comfortable talking to people or make yourself comfortable. We've got to get out of our comfort zone. I remember early on, I was so nervous I couldn't do a video like this. I was so nervous to do a video to my affiliates, but I'd be jumping around and I'd be so nervous, but I knew how powerful it was, so I made myself do it. And of course you do it more and more and more and more. I used to have an incredible fear of public speaking. Couldn't do it, I'd freeze up. I used that as an excuse for years. What was I doing? Hiding behind it. And no, I don't public speak. And quite a few years ago now, I realized this is really affecting my business. I'm teaching people to get out from behind their comfort zone, and I've got this fear. So I got some NLP training and fast forward, but now obviously I'm decently comfortable with public speaking. So you can kind of get caught behind all of these excuses, I guess you want to say. Like I had all these fears, and I'm as a personality type extroverted. People go, oh, well, you're confident. Do you know what? To talk to a stranger, that was very uncomfortable for me. To do a video, as I said, very uncomfortable for me. Not uncomfortable, fearful. I would literally freeze up if I had to speak in front of people. But like I said, I had to get out of my comfort zone. But what I realized, a lot of the things that either I was scared of, I didn't know, most of it was just I didn't know. It's kind of the reason why I created JV Hacking and created the training and wrote the book. Like I said, I do webinars now, I do all kinds of training on those fundamental, I'm going to say fundamental, but they're not obvious. Those fundamental things when you start your business, you've got a business, you want to get joint ventures, you want to start getting affiliates. So I teach, and again, it's one of those things that's simple but not easy. You don't know what you don't know. Like I said, to talk on the phone, pick up the phone. Who you approach, who you don't approach, even more importantly. What you say, what you don't say, more importantly. Like going to live events. Well, who loves walking up to people cold? I could never do that. I wasn't confident enough to do that. But I would put myself in the environments. It's the same thing as getting out of comfort zone to do a video, to get on a call. But what I find we all do is we hide behind text and email. Because we can. And believe me, 14 years ago, people were still doing it. So can you imagine now? I know when I speak from stage and I say, pick up the phone and stop hiding behind your computer, you can literally see the crowd do that. Because we're so programmed now that it's okay. And don't get me wrong, text, email, everything has its place. Of course it does. It's very efficient, it's easy. But if you want to make a connection with a person, you've got to talk to them on the phone, a video call's even better, and face-to-face is even better. So in the trainings that I do, I really talk a lot about the psychology or what you need, the way you need to think to get yourself out of those comfort zones. Little tricks, little tips, to consciously think about thinking abundantly and not scarcity. Because hey, here's the facts. 85% of the Western world have a limiting belief around money. I mean, that's shocking, right? But we got to know that's 85% of us. So be aware of that. When you're in a business situation, make sure you act abundant. You don't act kind of cheap, or you don't act, in that certain way. So I talk a lot about that. And I really go into, like I said, it seems like basic psychology.